Hi folks, JP here from the podcast. Just to let you all know that the podcast is sponsored by AB Entertainment, and the AB stands for Mr. Alec Beveridge. It's a DJ and entertainment business. Alex is on Facebook and Instagram, and you can hit him up through the WhatsApp for any bookings on 07845 746 092. And also folks, the podcast has taken on a new partner, and we're partnered by MCM Framing Services and Hoops Memorabilia. If you want any jerseys or if you've got any memorabilia sitting around you want framed or anything looked after that way, contact John Mullaney, and you can get him at johnmullaney0971@gmail.com, or contact him on his mobile 07835 072 582. And here at the Unrestricted View, we hope you're all enjoying the content, and if you are, please like and subscribe. It's free to do so, and also share amongst your Celtic family as well. Hail, hail from all of us.
Yes, and we're back, and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. My name is Ryan Clifford, and joining me in this episode is our good man, Mr. Alan Stirling. Alan, pre-season kicks off. Bruni's back with Brendan. Match made in heaven, and hopefully we can get a good start to the season, mate. Today, obviously, it's not a damn squib, but it's just good to, in terms of results, Alan, I don't think the result will matter tonight. It's all about getting the players back into shape. Back kicking the ball again and back playing football again, mate. So I think that's the most important thing that we'll get out tonight's friendly. But overall, mate, how are you? And it's good to see that you've not had the match free just as much as me, but I hope you're all right, mate.
I come off about a day or two ago. It was clean shaven, so it's back into the. No, very excited. Get the season back underway. It's not felt that actually that long since we last seen Celtic in the Scottish Cup final, being victorious there. So it'll be nice to see. I think there'll be a lot of the kind of youth players and maybe guys that haven't got as much game time will be featuring tonight. So it'll be nice to see if any of them's come on or how well they've progressed. There'll be a few guys that'll be out at other clubs. So it'll be good to have the Celtic back. Hope you're well, and hope everyone in the chat's very well, and let's have a good chat about tonight.
Yeah, I'm very good, mate. It is Friday after all, and obviously Celtic are back. Might not be the Celtic back that in terms of league business or a massive game, but it's still good to get Celtic back in terms of football. And obviously we've been lucky we've had the Euros to obviously keep us occupied in terms of football, because pre-seasons normally it's quite hard without any football, and especially when you're trying to talk about football, there's not much to speak about. And with Celtic at the moment, there's not much to speak about, mate. But just in terms of some news of the podcast, like JP, our good man JP has just said there in the chat, we have secured weekly premises in the Squirrel Bar for the Take Me to Paradise, Take Me to Your Paradise episode, which will be happening every week. Myself and JP have done some recently, and it's been very well accepted by a lot of fans and the viewers, and we'll keep putting out that content over the season. There's a lot of things happening for us going forward, so that's definitely something that's going to be very ideal for us, Alan, to be there every week. So a big thanks to the Squirrel Bar for accommodating us and letting us in the bar to use there. It's very, very chiefly accepted by ourselves and JP, and obviously Big Baby sponsor, and John, obviously partner as well. So we have got a few other things lined up, obviously going forward, but that will obviously be brought up in the near future, mate. But I think for the podcast, Alan, it's good for us to be there, and it's good to put out different content for the fans as well. And a big thank you to the Squirrel once again.
No, it's fantastic. Obviously, I was there speaking to Rab, the manager of the Squirrel, yesterday. And it would be great to have kind of premises that were at on a weekly basis. It's just we're trying to build a podcast and bring new types of kind of content for the viewers. So we're looking forward to it, and hopefully the viewers are happy with the content that's coming up. So I think I can speak for myself, you and JP, we're all kind of excited about the things that are coming up, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, like you say, obviously the Squirrel Bar, mate, it's a very good Celtic bar. Obviously the Gallagate, it's quite well known by a lot of people, especially on match days at the weekends. Very, very good entertainment as well in there as well. I've been there myself, so it's good to be part of that, and hopefully it helps us going forward, mate. But yeah, like you say, tonight, Celtic versus Ayr. I'm sure it's still Somerset Park. I'm not sure if they're changing names. A lot of stadiums are changing their names, but it'd be good to see Scott Brown again. I know he's not playing in terms of Celtic, but it's always good to go and play against our former players, like managers, coaches. It's always good to see ex-players playing, Alan, and it's also good to see ex-players managing, and when you come up against them, it's always good to see them.
Yeah, obviously Scott Brown's history with Celtic kind of speaks for itself. The amount of trophies he's won as a captain. Scott Brown as a captain, the amount of trophies he brought in at Celtic, unbelievable. He's a Celtic legend, and he'll always be appreciated, and who knows how he gets on in his managerial career, but we'd like to hope that we could see Scott Brown back at Celtic in some kind of coaching capacity in the future if he succeeds in the kind of lower leagues with Ayr United and wherever he goes for there. But he does look a wee bit different with his hair, doesn't he? It just you need to take the double take. But is that really Scott Brown? Well, where's that kind of intimidating bald head? So, but no, it'll be nice to have Celtic back. As I say, I think this will just be a kind of a training exercise for most of the players that have they featured so much for Celtic. Obviously some of them been out on loan. Some of the youth players I think maybe get a chance, maybe Daniel Kelly, etc. So it'll be nice to see where everybody's at, and the most important thing, we can get to watch Celtic again, which kind of puts a smile on every one of our faces.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, Alan. It will be some maybe squad players for last year, some guys maybe in the B team, some youth players. It could be a lineup of experience and youth. I'm going to probably put towards myself. I'd imagine it will be a lot of youth players playing. Guys that maybe coming up through the B team into the first team, with some guys who've been training with the first team. You mentioned there, Daniel Kelly, some players like that. So obviously, we'll touch on Rocco Vata. He's obviously left today to go to Watford. But overall, from tonight's game, Alan, what are you wanting out of it? And what do you feel the manager and the players would want out of this game? Obviously, it's pre-season, so like you says, it could be just to get the legs going again, get a feel for the ball, get your wee your touches back, and you're kind of back into football ready type of fitness. So what are you expecting from tonight's game, and what do you think the manager will get out of it?
Aye, it's obviously the beginning of the pre-season, so it is first and foremost try to get kind of fitness into the players. We all know there's a number of players that are still away in their breaks and holiday because of the Euros, etc. So it's going to be a pretty depleted squad tonight. I think what you've seen kind of on social media as well, I think everybody's kind of looking forward to seeing how far forward the Bosun Laos came. He's been getting kind of rave reviews last year with Fleetwood. I think they had a number of man of the match performances and kind of stood out, even though Fleetwood were relegated last year. So obviously he went into a new position last year as well with Fleetwood. We had seen him as a centre half, but he was playing more as a midfielder. So I would think that Brendan maybe give him a chance tonight to show what he can do in that position. So it'll be nice to see how far he's came forward and if he could be a member of the squad in the upcoming season.
Oh, aye, Captain Fantastic, JP. By the way, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, by the way, JP, because he is he's one of the senior members of the squad in terms of some of these players here, mate. So it wouldn't surprise me, JP. But we'll get to some of the comments, Alan, obviously, and Jem. Afternoon, Ryan and Alan, and all our viewers. Even Ange, hope you're well. Rory boy, afternoon, Rory, hope you're well. Scott, once again, mate, how are you? Ryan and Alan and chat, hope you're well. Good man, JP. How are you, JP? You all good? Alexander Cortals, can you tell both of your lineups for the game? I'm being honest with you, I probably can't tell you that. I
don't think anybody could.
Yeah, I don't know what you feel about that, mate. If you've got a lineup for us that you can maybe put towards us, but in terms of myself, I probably couldn't tell you. I'd imagine Scott Bain will be in goals. That's probably the only person that I would say could be a starter and could be the man in goals tonight. But apart from that, I don't think I could tell you. Jeffrey, evening, hope you're well. Kick-off, I think it's 7:45 kick-off tonight, Jeff.
That's indeed,
yeah. And I'll put this towards you, Alan. Good be comment here from Big Rab BNS. I want to see all the youth players and fringe players tonight. They have got to have some game time to see what they are going to bring, or if they need to leave the building. What's your take on that, mate?
I think that's the whole purpose of the game tonight. We've got a game on Wednesday against Queen of the South as well, so I think that's more
Queen's Park, you mean?
Queen's Park. So I think that's the kind of purpose of these couple of games. Obviously, we go to America after these games, but I think there's something like there's a 11-day gap between the Queen's Park game and the first game against DC United, I think. So I think you'll see the majority of the fringe players, players that have been out on loan, and the youth. And I think the purpose of tonight is just to see what standard these guys are at. Are they at the standard that they can contribute in this upcoming season? And this will just be a kind of watching exercise for Brendan to see what these guys are capable of, and if they could come in and make an impact in the first team squad. So it's one of the games it's most likely going to be most fringe players in the B squad, but it's still nice to have Celtic back. It's a bit earlier than usual, but it's still nice to just watch kind of Celtic playing and see how it goes on.
Yeah, it's always good, mate, to have football back on. Obviously, the Euros is here, but you like watching Celtic no matter if it's a friendly or if it's a league game. It doesn't matter what it is, you just like watching Celtic. So, obviously, like you mentioned there, some of the fringe players and youth players, I know it's Ayr United. It's no disrespect to Ayr, than obviously a league below us. They've had a few games. I think they beat East Kilbride 4-2 the other day there, so they've had a bit of match practice. So they'll be wanting to obviously continue their preparations, obviously, for the Championship next season. Scott Brown will be wanting Ayr to try and challenge promotion this year. Obviously, they didn't really do well in terms of when Scott came in. He did take them up 2 or 3 places in the league and kind of got them survival. So he kind of secured that for them. So I think Scott will obviously be looking to thank United a wee bit up the table and try and get up to the Premier League at his tenure at Ayr. So obviously it's only a pre-season game, and it is obviously just a training exercise maybe for Celtic, but it'll be good to see Scott Brown, and it'll be good for him to put his wits against Celtic and Brendan, and just maybe see if there's any his squad or any certain players that maybe can stand out and maybe say, all right, this boys can maybe play against some of these guys. It's a good education for him as well to see what he's got in his squad as well.
No, there's no doubt. Teams like that, they've got an early start to the season with the group stages of the League Cup to qualify for the last 16, I think. So these teams are all kind of they're well in training and try to prepare early, so they've got the best chance of progressing in that and kind of get up to fitness for the league season upcoming. So they'll be fully prepared. I know that Ayr United are in the league below us, but I think it'll be a shadow of a Celtic side that we'll see. So say there's still a number of first team players that will still be missing, still be taking breaks. So it should be a very competitive game. And as I say, that kind of competitive game shows how the players in the fringes will kind of build and what level they've kind of grown to. So it'll be an interesting game, but it certainly won't be an easy game because, as I say, these guys they've been training for kind of a couple of weeks, I think now. So it'll not be any walkover anyway, I don't think.
I don't think it will be either. Obviously, some of the players will be a bit rusty as well. In terms of match fitness, I know they've been in about a week now, but match fitness is keyer than training. You can train and keep yourself fit and go to the gym and do all these bleep tests, but if you're not getting match fitness, then it's a bit harder for you to come in and play. So it'd be good to get some match fitness. JP says, Aaron, do you think Siegrist will get game time at all tonight?
Is Siegrist still in the building?
He's been training. He's been training.
So I doubt it. I think you'll probably see Scott Bain starting. Whether they make substitutions with the goalkeeping position, that's another question. You might see him kind of getting some game time in the second half. But I think reading about Siegrist's interviews, he's basically said that he's not interested in staying at Celtic and he sees his future in Australia. So he's not really had any impact since he's been a Celtic player. So I don't think it's going to make any difference. I think we know fine well that we're going to have probably 2 new goalkeepers coming into the building, and that's probably the most publicised part of our transfer business, the goalkeepers at the minute. So I think Siegrist will move on. There's not really much to talk about Benji Siegrist's Celtic career, so let's just wish him the best and onwards and upwards for Celtic.
We see obviously Oni's the transfer of Siegrist, when he signed, it was actually, I thought it was a decent signing. He was very, very good with United. Celtic, Ange didn't play him, even though he signed him, didn't really play him. Rodgers last season didn't really play much. I think he played 1 game, I think, of that. So what do you think the thought process was behind that then with Ange? Do you think it was because he'd done well in Scotland, right? We'll bring him to back up, see how he is, but he didn't even take over Scott Bain a lot of the time as second choice. So, and again, it's no disrespect to Scott Bain, because Scott Bain obviously is still a decent standard of goalkeeper, maybe no Celtic first choice, or in my opinion second choice, but to still be at that level, I know he's not playing, to still be at that level, you've got to have some sort of ability to still be in the changing room, or about, in my opinion anyways, to still get on a contract itself, you've got to have something to still be in the squad every week. So, but for me, Scott Bain's never done enough for me to even be second choice. I've never seen him as a goalkeeper that's ever going to. I know he had the big game at Ibrox. I know he had certain other decent games, but certain games, like we seen against Hibs with Ange, when Ange put him in, threw the ball in the back of the net and stuff, and you've got to think to yourself, if Benjamin Siegrist can't get a game over Scott Bain, again, it's no disrespect to Scott Bain, it's just in terms of ability-wise, I feel Siegrist is, in my opinion, Siegrist is a better goalkeeper than Scott Bain, from what I've seen for watching Scottish football. Something obviously, it can't be down to ability, Aaron, why he's not playing or Scott Bain. Is it he's not training hard enough? Is it he's mentally no here? Is it whatever reason, Aaron? Why do you think your opinion? I saw about opinions, Aaron. We've all got different opinions about the situation or other situations in football. What do you feel the situation with Siegrist? Why he's not even close to getting any game time? Is it because Joe Hart was just too good and the other two are just there to maybe fiddle for second choice or third choice, or do you think there's reasons behind why he wasn't able to get any game time?
I think you look at the last few years at Celtic, there's been very, very little rotation in the goalkeeping position. There's always been the number one goalkeeper, and maybe in the odd cup game, etc., you would get the second choice coming in and making an appearance. But I really liked Siegrist when he was with Dundee United, and I thought he would come in, he would overtake Bain as the second choice, but that's just not happened. And I'm starting to lean towards it might be an attitude thing, because when you look at the interview done, I think that's slightly disrespectful and unprofessional. That he's done an interview saying that he never wants to be back in Scotland or Celtic Park, and he'll move to Australia and stay there kind of for good. He's still employed with Glasgow Celtic. He's still getting a wage, and for him to kind of make comments for that kind of makes me think, is there some sort of attitude
do you think? Obviously, Alan, I don't know. I have seen the article, but do you go by that he said that word by word, or do you think the Australian media are trying to twist it so that he can maybe get a move? Or do you think he has said that, or do you think it's maybe been translated a bit differently?
Well, it's English, so they've quoted him word for word, seemingly.
I'm just trying
to
play devil's advocate on the media. You know the media can twist things, so do you think he's actually said the words, or do you think they're maybe trying to help him by saying certain things to put it
I think
there?
he has said that, because it looks like it's been quoted word for word, the interview. I'd obviously like to hear the interview to confirm that, but it looks like that's what he said. There's no decent newspaper that would kind of misquote a direct quote. So,
well, unless you stay in Scotland.
Aye. So, but the fact of the matter is, he's, for whatever reason it is, he's no progressed at Celtic. He stayed third choice, whereas we've seen his performances before he arrived at Celtic. He looked kind of way and above, beyond the quality of Scott Bain. And yet, it looks as if Scott Bain's been the second choice throughout the two managers as well. So you've got to question, there must be issues somewhere there. I know you're spot on, James. That's 100%. Can't argue with that. Nobody's bigger than Celtic. And certainly no Benji Siegrist.
I just get your thoughts on that, mate. And I don't know if anybody else in the chat, if there's anything you want to ask us or anything you want to put towards a topic, let us know. We're going for a wee bit tonight, so I know a wee bit to go. So anything you want to chat about, if it's the pre-season or transfers or certain players, me and Alan will be happy to answer some questions if you want. But Alan, for me, I just think it's because Joe Hart was obviously an elite. I don't want to say an elite level goalkeeper, but compared to Siegrist and Bain, he's definitely elite compared to they two. He's a far better goalkeeper than they two. For me, Scott Bain, I'm sure he's doing stuff behind the scenes and maybe in terms of coaching, or if he's maybe... You do need players that are good in the dressing room. I get that, and being in dressing rooms myself, there's maybe guys that weren't really playing, but they were good experience, they were good at helping young boys, they were good at doing this and good at... I get all that. You definitely need that in your team, but if you're paid to be a goalkeeper and you're paid to be a professional and you're paid to try and play games, then Scott Bain's he's not doing that. He's not done that for a few years at Celtic. So then you've got to start thinking, right, if he's going to be the second choice, the number one has got to be, in my opinion, Alan, if Scott Bain's going to still be the club second choice, then you're going to have to get an absolute world of number one, because the quality is going to ridiculously drop. But I'm going to be, like you says, I do feel Scott Bain will go to third choice, and I do feel there'll be, well, I'd like to think we'll buy 2 goalkeepers. But on tonight, I think it will be just Scott Bain. I think I will be surprised if she gets its game time. Like you say, obviously we seen some of the comments he said. I do feel it's wrong. I think he's maybe been ill-advised on the interview. You're away on holiday, just relax, come back. If you get asked about it, then there's certain ways that you come across. Just say, look, I'm under contract with Celtic. Yes, I've not been happy with my game time, etc., etc. But you don't really chat about saying that you don't want to go back, or that's, you deal with that when you go back to Celtic. You don't really do that in holiday, in my opinion. But footballers do things, to try and get moves, and that's my one reason why he's allowed to try and get a move. But you mentioned a player there that who knows if he'll play this year, who knows if he'll get a long pre-season. His boss-in Lowell. Obviously Fleetwood, they get rave reviews, good performances. I only seen highlights myself, so I'm only going by what's on Fleetwood's social media, the fans. They're really saying he's really good. I'm sure he's moved into midfield now, if that's correct. He looks a big, tall boy. He looks bigger than he's 8. I think he's only a young boy. Quite young as well. He's only 20 odds, maybe, early 20s. Yeah, so he's young. He looks physically ready to play in the first team. But there is a big difference from playing with Fleetwood and playing with Celtic. So hopefully the year that he's had at Fleetwood will help him, give him experience, build him up physically, mentally. In pre-season, Alan, I think he probably will get a chance. This is probably the pre-season that he'll need to show up to maybe show that he's going to be at Celtic or be in the squad to get some game time. It's definitely possible for him, because I think you do need squad players, you do need guys to come in and hopefully help the team. And you want to see somebody, I know he was signed by Watford, but he was in the B team for a bit there, and you want to see somebody that's been in the youths, in the B team, potentially going forward to the first team. And I still feel the gap's massive, but I'd like to think maybe potentially out of 1 or 2 of the youth players in the pre-season, the B team players that maybe on loan or maybe who are in the fringes of the first team potentially at the end of the season or the start of the season last year, they can hopefully potentially and get in during pre-season and show Brendan that they can potentially play in the first team.
I know, definitely. I think this will probably be Law's last chance. He's been down south, and it's the same league that Matt O'Reilly played in as well, at the same age. So if he's playing that well, obviously Matt O'Reilly's taking his game to a completely different level, a completely different stratosphere. He's worked hard to get to that kind of performance level. But I think I'd seen something online and said to you and JP, it looks like last year, Bosun Law's figures and the stats were actually better than when Matt O'Reilly performed in League One for MK Dons. So it is a massive step up, but I think Matt O'Reilly's proved if the work's put in, if you're hungry to make that step up, then it's definitely, that progression's definitely available for you. So it'll be interesting to see, but as Celtic fans, I think the last few years since maybe Victor Wanyama's been there, we'll be crying out for that kind of number 6 that is of that stature, the kind of guy that's built like that, tall guy that's physical. So if his quality kind of is up to the mark, then that's the ideal kind of player that we've been looking for, the Celtic fans. We've been looking for that kind of aggressive number 6 that can get in, make things physical, win the ball and break it up. That's the kind of player that I think it looks as if he's played for Fleetwood last year. It's just whether the quality level is up to the standard that we require.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's down to him now to obviously prove himself, to see that he's good enough and show Brendan that he can come in even as a squad player, or potentially be good enough to start in the league and force his way in. Because obviously if Matt O'Reilly stays, Hatate still stays, Hatate's still here, McGregor's obviously going to play every week, probably, unless he has an absolute unbelievably run of form that everything he touches is out of the park and stuff. Cal's always going to play. So you'd imagine that they 3 will be the 3 players that will probably start the season if they're fit and they're all still there. Awata's still there as well. You've got Holmes still here as well. then you've got obviously Bosun to come in as well if he's there. So
James
you've
McCarthy.
got James McCarthy. Unfortunately, I think James, I don't know what's happened with James, if he's just, well, I did mention it on Monday. I will chat to you about James. I like your thoughts on it, Aaron, in a wee second. But I do feel that it's down to him now to obviously come in and play and show Brendan. But I do feel that it will be hard for him, so he will need to be really, really, really good to show up, because if they three are fully fit and McGregor, obviously he'll stay, but Hatate, McGregor, O'Reilly, if they're here, then he's going to be pushed to play. Obviously, Bernardo's situation, if he stays as well, then I'd like to think Bernardo would be another guy that's going to come in and try and force his way in. So Bosun might be back again. So while Bernardo's not here, this is maybe a time to go, right, I want to try and prove myself to maybe be the fourth choice to get in the midfield, or potentially get in and be the third, or whatever choice that he can, the maximum he can. But for me, Alan, I want to put this to you as well. Obviously, Marco Tellio's left back on loan. He was signed for an excess of 1.5 million. I think it was actually some sort of record fee for the team or in Australia. It's not astronomical amounts of money, but it's still £1.5 million spent out in wages. He got injured. It was stop-start for him last season. He played the odd game. Camero was at one of the games he played, I think 15 minutes near the end. Dundee. It didn't look anything out of the ordinary. It didn't look ridiculously poor. It just looked like it did look small. It did look that it was maybe a step too far for him. But again, I'm not going to judge Marco Tellio because I've not seen much of him. A lot of the fans haven't, so we can't judge him on ability. We can only judge him what we've seen in terms of he's not really played much. Brendan's not really even really spoke about him at all. But Melbourne, they love him. They think he's brilliant, and so maybe we downgrade your league a wee bit, Alan. Maybe we think the Scottish League, it's no good, and you've got Livingston, who are not in the Championship now. Oh, but we've got Astro Stadium, Astro Parks, it's no great quality. But then some guys come here from other countries and can't cut the mustard. So what's your feelings on Marco Tellio? And John did put a point up there. Tellio away on loan. Don't think we'll see him again in a Hoops jersey. A lot of Van signings didn't cut the mustard. I agree with John Allen. Yes, Angie's successes, like your Kyogos, your Tatis, your Maedas, obviously Jota and Vickers as well, but he did sign some French players, like your Oz. I'd like to think Yang was earmarked by Ange as well. Tellio, Abelgard, loan deal didn't work either. Bernaby's not worked, $3.5 million as well. So I know that is the case with signings. Some will work and some won't, but I do feel that if you're signing, I know the rebuild season, I'm going to give Ange a wee bit of slack with that because he had to get players in to bulk the squad and he had to buy players. But I think sometimes when you do spend a lot of money in 10 players, 12 players, 15 players, etc., you're going to get some players that are just not going to cut the mustard because for me, he signed that amount of players to get them all in. I know every player is not going to be a starting 11, but not every player, like John says, has been massively successful for some of the Anges, but you've got to credit Ange, credit the board in terms of the success because they backed Ange blind. They backed him on this one blind, and unfortunately, Alan, it's not worked out so far.
Aye, when you talk about the level of kind of Australian football, it's obviously not the best. Okay, Jason Cummins is still playing all there, isn't he? I think he's playing up front with Crocodile Dundee. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the Castor Neighbours and another team, so it's obviously not the best of football. So we spoke about it enough last year about the scattergun approach that the recruitment team took.
Just say sorry, Jerry. Sorry, it's not half eight, mate. Obviously, caused the match, mate, a bit early, but thanks for tuning in, Jerry. Thank you, mate. Aye,
we spoke about it a lot last year about the scattergun kind of transfer approach that we took last year. We had Korean League 2, with Kwon coming in, we had another player for Korea and Yang. Then we went to Australia with Tellio, brought in kind of Odin Thiago home, there was a number of players. It was very, very messy, the kind of transfer approach. It was just like, we'll go to these lower leagues and we'll buy in the best of their leagues, even though it's not worked out, obviously, because most of them are either out on loan or they're just failing to make any impact whatsoever. So obviously in the upcoming season, the transfer window as well, we need to have a more kind of structured and thoughtful approach to the players we're bringing in. And we're hoping that Brendan's get more of a kind of say in the players that are incoming and outgoing. I think that will be the case with obviously Mark Law and his assistant leaving a few months ago. So I think it'll be mostly Brendan's players. And as I said to you guys earlier, I think it might be probably neither by the leagues we're looking at. I can see a high majority of the players coming from down south, whether that be players that maybe aren't getting a game in the Premier League, maybe kind of down in the luck, or kind of rising players in League One or the Championship. But I can see a lot of our business probably being done down south. It's probably a safer approach than the approach we've had in the last, especially the last year, because you see the amount of players that have kind of failed to make any impact whatsoever. And we can only hope that Brendan knows exactly what he's doing with bringing these players in.
I think for me, Alan, if anybody can shoot me down if I'm wrong, but any time I've seen Brendan Rodgers make signings, i.e. Liverpool, Swansea, Celtic, Leicester, his signings have normally been European players, British players from Spain, Italy, kind of this side of the continent, not over in Japan, Australia, Asian players, South American players. He's always kind of bought European-based players. Maybe not European nationalities, but he's bought them from teams that have played in European leagues. If I'm wrong, shout me down. But off the top of my head, I can't remember the last time Brendan Rodgers actually bought people from. I know he bought Shev. Well, he didn't buy Marian Shev, but the club bought obviously for Ukraine and stuff. But any Rodgers' big signings that I've seen for Celtic, anybody on the Charms, your Edwards, etc., they were all bought from you. As a Gary, yeah. But very rarely do we sign players from that.
Yeah, no, you're spot on.
That's what I mean, very rarely. So I feel it will be more European-based players, like English Premier League players. If it's Spanish players, Italian, I think it will be French. I think it will be more European-based players. And I feel personally, I think it's easier for them to settle on as well if I've played European football as well. It's harder for somebody across the world to come in, get used to the culture. Obviously, loads of things that come with the culture as well in terms of the weather as well. I'm to settle a new team and the language back. So there's loads of things with buying somebody from overseas, but somebody here, overseas in terms of other side of the world, but buying somebody from Spain. I know they've got language barriers as well, but it's not like you're traveling over the world. It's closer to home. They're played in this side of the. I think just easier transition to Europe to Scotland than it is for the other side of the world. But I do feel that Brendan will take more of a hand in the signings. He mentioned last year, Alan, about in the last season that he wants more depth in the squad. He wants physicality. He said that last season as well. Physicality, pace, basically signings that we didn't really get in the summer. So I feel that now this is where Brendan. I feel this is where he'll get judged now in terms of this is his signings. Unless he comes out, I did say earlier to JP that if he doesn't get what he wants, you'll be able to tell in the pressers during the season. So I feel now it will be on to Brendan, and I do feel it will be players down south, European-based players, because it kind of goes for that. But on the McCarthy situation, like he says, for me, Aaron, a lot of people have been talking. I did mention it on the podcast on Wednesday. A lot of people been talking about how he's stealing a wage and this and that. McCarthy's not stealing a wage. McCarthy's got a contract by Celtic. He signed a 4-year contract at Celtic on decent money. So why if James has got no offers to go anywhere, why would he move? I know it's all right saying pay his contract up, but he might not get the full money that Celtic might try and cut a deal. He might go, no, I'm getting this. I want this. He could be happy here in Scotland. He might not be able to do it anymore. Injuries. He might be just happy to take his last year and go, right, thanks Celtic. Unlucky. I'm sorry it didn't happen for us in the last 2 years or so. It did. He's made his first season. I thought he'd done okay. I think he played 16 odd games, I think, or something like that in his first season. He's done okay. Obviously, a leader in terms of his leadership. I think he's a good, experienced player. I think he was good in the dressing room with the players. They says a few players have said that in interviews that he was a good player to have in the dressing room, and you didn't need that, Alan. But at the end of the day, you're paid to play games, and we've not seen him the last year training with the first team. We've not heard about him in the squad pictures, squad photos, videos. We've not seen him anywhere around Celtic. I actually seen him in Duke Street a few months ago getting a haircut. So that's the first I've seen that, James. So we've not really seen him, Alan. But in terms of James McCarthy, he's not stealing a wage. He's got a contract. He's sitting maybe doing nothing, or he's sitting in the gym. That's up to him because he's got a contract. So why should James move? Unless he's got a deal with Celtic to move or somebody wants him, then he's not stealing a wage, Alan. He's just under contract. He's taking his wage, and it's like me or anybody else. If you've got a job, that's your wage until you go to a different job or you get a different wage, pack it somewhere else, then you're not going to leave.
Aye, I had a search party out for him in Tenerife. But no, we've seen that photo of him on social media on holiday with his family, but he's basically disappeared off the face of the earth. But you're spot on. Guy's got a contract. So it left in his family. Football's it's got a short time period, so you need to make as much money as you possibly can. So I don't blame him. I blame whoever gave him a contract. That's the fact of the matter. So it's not worked out. If I'm being honest, I thought it would have been a good signing with the experience it had in the Premier League. I thought it would have been a match made in heaven, but it turned out the complete opposite for that. So you can't blame him for no moving on. I think he'll be on quite a healthy wage. I'd just pay him up. I know you were mentioning that there. I'd just pay him. If he wants his kind of full wage, I'd just pay him up. There's no point in him being there. He's not going to get anywhere near the starting 11. He's not getting anywhere near any squad, to be honest. I can't remember any training video that I've actually seen him kind of taking part, so I don't know.
I think the first week of last season, when Brendan was back, was the last video I've seen him.
So I don't know if he's training with the youth or what he's actually doing. But it's probably best to cut the losses if that's possible. If he's willing to kind of take a deal or just pay him off, because one thing's for certain, I can't see him kind of contributing whatsoever in the upcoming season. So it's best to just cut ties for Celtic, move on, and try to spend our finances more wisely in the future. Because the way that deal looks, I think we've been out of pocket quite a bit for very little return.
Yeah, and obviously another player who's obviously left the club is Rocco Vata. He's left to go to Watford. I think it's 270 grand conversation, something when about that money. Good move for him in terms of the level. It's still a very good level. It's a very competitive league. He will have to be really up to standard to play with Watford. I know Watford they're no Man City or Arsenal, but that's a very competitive league. Watford are trying to obviously get back to the Premier League, so they're also hoping that the boys get a bit of quality to add to their promotion push for next season. That's a very good league this year. Obviously Burnley went down, Sheffield United went down. Bazzi's team, Sheffield Wednesday, are signing some decent players. So there's a decent crop of teams in that league. Luton as well, they're down as well. They'll have parachute payments. So the boy will have a task to get to get some game time in that Watford team. But Alan, fair play to the boy. We don't know what's gone behind the scenes in terms of if his dad is pushing for moves, if his agent, I don't know if his dad is agent. I don't know if that's something that his dad is. I don't know that by gospel. Of the club off my dealing, they think that elsewhere he's getting too much money. They're not competing with that because he is a youth player. I know he's come up to the first team here and there, but he is a B team into he's no a major candidate to play for Celtic. So Celtic are only going to give a guy who's only a youth player a lot of money. They might give him incentives or maybe listen, we'll give you a shot at the first team, but nobody's guaranteed anything, Alan. But fair play to the boy. He's got a bit of box about, in my opinion, to go away, down south, challenging a bit of change of career, because as much as he might not be playing, he's probably getting maybe all right money, I don't know, for a B team player. But he was playing a bit of the first team. Celtic's a massive club. You're getting all the best treatment still here, even though you're on a B team. You're still full time here. You're still getting a decent, probably lifestyle at that age. So fair play for got to challenge himself. And I hope it works out for the boy, Aaron, because he's obviously got talent. I've not seen a lot of the boys, so I can't comment. He's obviously got a lot of talent, but who knows why he's not played, Aaron? Is it attitude? Is it just about ability-wise he's just not good enough? Or is it because you don't want to be here longer term? Therefore, well, why should we give you a contract you don't want to be here? Who knows, Aaron? What's your thoughts on Rocco Vata? And do you feel that his career will get much better now he's left Celtic?
He looked half decent when he came in. He was still young, still a lot of development to happen. But he was nothing out of the ordinary, I don't think. The grass isn't always greener. Sometimes when you look at the likes of Ben Doak, that's working out fantastically well for him. That's probably one we should have tried to keep a hold of a bit stronger. But then on the other side, you're looking at the likes of Karamoko Dembele that was supposed to be the next big thing. There was more about Karamoko Dembele than there was about Rocco Vata. I think he's at Blackpool now, isn't he?
He had a good season last season, apparently.
So he had a season in France, I think, that it was basically a flop as well. And you're looking at, I think it was one of his teammates as well, Armstrong Okoflex, that went down to West Ham, and I think he's released without a club, I'm sure, the last time I read. I might be wrong there. So the grass isn't always greener, but sometimes if they've got enough ability and they want to kind of work hard enough, then like Ben Doak, it can work out. So we need to put our trust in the manager. He's the guy that's seen Rocco Vata every day for the last year or so, his coaching side. So if he's felt that they've no wanted to give Vata as much money, or they've no wanted to commit to a contract with a certain length, or etc., then we need to trust the manager, the coaching side. So we wish him all the best. Obviously, his connections with Celtic, with his dad. So wish him all the best, and we can only kind of watch and see what happens.
What's your thoughts on this, Alan? Jerry says the thing that is annoying, Jerry is a total silence from the club. Brendan is keeping clear from any interviews because he knows he's going to be asked about the lack of signings. What's your thoughts on that, mate?
Aye. Well, we spoke about it Monday. I think the word I used, it was getting quite concerning on Monday. And if we had made another signing, a signing within the next kind of week or two, then it wouldn't be panic stations, but it'd be bordering on that stage, because we need quite a few players. As you will see, there will be a few players leaving as well. But there is positions that we're not fully equipped to get into next season with. So the ideal situation is for us to go into these games in America with most of the squad that we're looking to get into next season with, so that they can work together, they can kind of bed in, get to know each other's players, etc., so that they've got the best opportunity to kind of start the season with a bang. So in an ideal world, we'd like to see a few players in by now, and I think the comment's probably right. That's why Brendan might be kind of avoiding any interviews. But we definitely need to see some activity with transfers within, I'd say, the next few days or to a week, because there's positions there that definitely need filled, and it's no filling me with confidence at the minute that we're now in the 5th of July and we've got a game tonight, and we've not brought one player in the door. So we need to trust the club, but in an ideal world we would have liked a few in by now to try and bed in.
I get what you're saying, JP, in terms of the full squad, but that shouldn't stop you signing players, mate. Personally, I know I was one for saying the Euros zone, but there's other teams signing players at Euros, so I'm no panic at all. I'm no overly concerned right now, but if we don't get at least one or two in by next week at least, then I think fans have the right to be a bit restless. Because by next week it will be 20 odd days to the first game. And ideally, I'm not naive enough to know that things take time to get players in, and there's certain things that could dampen how quickly things go. It could be family issues, it could be moving your kids to school, it could be anything at all. Why these things, like Eddie Howe come to Celtic, the reason why it didn't happen is because his coaching staff, etc., etc. And that took a bit of time to try and get that done. It didn't happen, and he said, look, it's not happening, I can't get my coaching staff, etc. So I can see why fans are frustrated, Alan, because like we've said before, they've put the new strips, training gear, people are buying the season books, they're not giving you a friendly or anything like that for nothing. I'm not saying they need to do that, but a bit of loyalty to the fans. They've not given us anything really back in terms of a wee incentive for the fans. Yes, they've amazingly in domestic doubles and treble. Listen, that's amazing, but I'm just talking about right now as it stands. We've had a 5-minute video clipping on YouTube, a wee minute on Instagram, and like you says, in terms of clarity of the club, we've not even been told. They've not even told us yet that Tilly's leaving. They've retweeted the Twitter post, but they've not put on Twitter, good luck to Marco Tilio, enjoy whatever. They've not even, like, things like that, I think, we're a wee bit slow, and I think they're doing that is because they know fans are just going to go, what's this happening, what's this? But I'm not overly concerned just yet. I can see the frustrations. I'm going to let Brendan Days work the new Alan, like the board, hopefully, give the finances that Brendan wants to obviously go and progress the team by the end of next week. If I've not got anything in, then I think the fans will get the right to start being a wee bit more than a wee bit frustrated. But I'm not going to be doing and gloom about the situation right now, Alan. We've just come off a double season there, mate. It's only the first game back tonight, so get this in the Queen's Park game over. And then I think, like you said there, mate, I think the American tour, that's when you like to think to try and get some signings in. I know signings have happened in the past early on in the window, but I think we just want a wee bit of clarity on some situations. But I think we will get that, and I do agree with JP. Yes, we do need to trust Brendan and his team. You've got to trust the manager, but it's not a manager we don't trust. It's is he going to get the finances to go and help Celtic? For me, Alan, I'll let you back on this, mate. It's not about the domestic side for me, Alan, because I'm not going to get into a debate. This is just a wee thought put to you, Alan. For me, I think all Celtic fans, and me in general, all we want is Brendan Rodgers was brought in here to make Celtic. In my opinion, this is just my own opinion, he wasn't brought in here to win trebles and win the league with 15 points and 20 points. He can do that anyway by his own ability and his own management style and his own approach to the game. He's good enough to manage this team to the league for as long as he's here. Doubles, he could potentially get a treble again because he's that good a manager that he can take players that might not be up to what he wants. Look at last season. Some of the guys he didn't really think were up to the mustard, but he still played them. He got the best out of them, won a double. So all I want is the board to give a wee bit, if they can, to the manager, give him the best opportunity to help us in Europe, because I know how hard it is. I know how much money they're all spending. It's going to be difficult, but all we want is a fan base. Give the manager the best basis he can to help Celtic get more points or more wins or up this league table in Europe, and try and do what we can. If they do that and then we fail, then I'll go, right, back to square one. what do we do? Fair enough. Right, we'll just need to try again next season. But until the manager gets the biggest basis that he can, because I didn't think he got that last season, he didn't get the basis to make sure we gave the best Celtic in Europe. I just want us. There you go, Alan. What is your expectations in the season going forward? What do you hope we do in Europe? And then, that's kind of the last bit for me, mate, on that.
The club as a whole, and the communication does need to be a bit better. We've not heard anything about the upcoming season, really, or any kind of incomings or outgoings, but I've had about 1 million emails and things on social media about buying the training gear. So, that's the way you sit. You want a wee bit of appreciation and just to be in the know. It's just we're all part of this club as fans as well. So you want to know what a rough basis of what's going on. My expectations of this season, I think the league's the bread and butter. That's the most important thing. Obviously, ideally, you'd like to pick up the other 2 cups, but as long as we win the league, I'll be happy. I would like us, obviously, we want to see, as I've said to you a number of times, we want to see the best version of Celtic that's possible. I think the board, the recruitment team need to do a better job. We've got the capabilities there financially to go out there and make more of an impact and buy players at a higher standard that we've seen the last couple of years. So you're looking at, especially the last 12 months in the transfer business that we've done, there's been a lot of the players that have been kind of 500,000, 1 million, and then you're looking at the recruitment team that's maybe failed with the likes of Lager Bielka, Narovsky, etc. The guys that just haven't worked out, Telio. So it needs to be a collective improvement in how we're doing. I think the board, how financially set we are, we can afford to go out there and be a bit braver. Kind of put a bit more into Brendan's kitty and a bit braver on spending more money. I think that's capable. No out with what means. I know we've got a ceiling and we've got budgets for both transfer fees and for wages, but I think there's a bit of wiggle room there that we can improve on. The recruitment team definitely need to get their job spot on, because we've seen the amount of players that have come in that are just no contributing whatsoever and are basically been moved out the door. So if we could get the recruitment right, you'd like to see your expectations in the Champions League to be maybe improve on last year. The one thing is, I don't know if it would take a different setup in the European games, but I would like to see us just competing and no being beat kind of 6-0, 7-0, 7-1, 5-1, Real Madrid, etc. These are top sides. We need to adjust to make sure that we're not getting an absolute hiding every time, because that's just going to dip your morale every time. So my expectations, I know I've went on a wee bit there, my expectations is, first of all, the league is your bread and butter. You'd like to pick up a cup or 2, but I'd like to see us make a slight progression in Europe. I'm no under any false pretences that we could qualify out of this new European Champions League group, but let's be competitive. Let's kind of stay close to, whether that be in points or during games, let's stay close to teams that we're no getting absolute hidings. I want to be kind of proud that we're no coming out and you see a lot of the English reporters, that's another 6-0 defeat for Celtic, the Scottish teams, they've no hope. Let's be competitive, and I don't know where that'll go for us. I don't know what expectations you can have in Europe, but let's have a wee bit of a go and put everything we've got possible into try to do something.
I don't think we should have any expectations. It's just all about trying and improving the best we can, and that's what I see it. And the only way you do that is by giving the manager the best chance possible.
Hi guys. I think our host has left us. So it's just, obviously we're looking at the upcoming season and we'll try to be as positive as we possibly can. And I think Ryan's joining us
I
back there.
don't know what happened there, cut off.
I just looked up, that's me.
There was that in there. I know, I just feel that it's all about progression, Alan. I've got no expectations myself, mate. Just trying to progress. If that's another few wins, if it's been more competitive, just like you say, we don't want that. But listen, I understand that the odd time it will happen because of these players that might be in the freaking Madrid or Barcelona. They're unbelievably better than you, and there's only so much you can do. The results at Celtic Park against Barcelona only happen every so often, so it's just progression, Alan. That's for me. It's just if it's a few more wins or better performances, it's just a better progression. And the only way, in my opinion, you're going to get that is by giving the manager the best chance possible, and that's just giving the players that he wants. Listen, they might not work out. They might not. Who knows? But for me, Alan, the new format is going to help us a wee bit because it's giving you 4 home, 4 away, I think. So it's 8 games, bigger chance to get results, bigger chance to test yourself. And I do feel Brendan Rodgers was brought in to help Celtic to be improving Europe. I don't think he was brought in to go and win the league titles. Obviously, that comes with the job and that comes with the pressure. But I feel this sort of manager was brought in to help us in Europe. But we'll see how it goes, Alan. We've got a long way to talk about the European situation. We will have a guest in the next few weeks, hopefully, to explain all that for us as well, the European side. But in terms of, obviously, Alan, tonight, what you spent tonight again, mate, and how do you think tonight will be?
It's just a kind of exercise for the team to kind of bed back into training, playing football again. So I'm just looking forward to seeing a few of the players that have kind of been on the fringes. Maybe a couple of the youngsters that have started to maybe get a few appearances for the bench last year. So you're just happy to kind of see Celtic back, and we'll see how the night goes. I think it's more about watching the individuals rather than the collective and the results. So it'll be just nice to see what's green and white hoops again.
I think that's it, mate. It's just good to see Celtic playing again. Good to see the manager back at touchline. Just it starts to get you the feel for the season going forward and having Celtic back. But again, mate, it's good to chat to you. I know it's a bit earlier. Yeah. It's a bit earlier than normal for us, but obviously it's a game tonight, so it's good to get that in for the weekend. We will be back on Monday, the usual time at 8:30, for obviously the aftermath for the game and any other news that happens over the weekend. Please like, subscribe to the podcast. We are on Twitter, TikTok, and we're also on Facebook. Please follow the page for any updates. Look in the community section and the Facebook page and Twitter for anything that we do update on the podcast. Also, big thank you again to the Squirrel Bar for letting us in to do the Take Me to Your Paradise episode, which will be back during the week as well. So hopefully we'll get that done and dusty very soon as well on the upcoming episodes. But Alan, take care. Good to see you again, mate. Everybody in the chat, thanks for taking your time to tune into us. That's early watch for us and early listening. But again, thanks for tuning in. Hail, hail, and take care.
Hail, hail.
Hi.
in the box. Oh, you can't shove the goalie in the box. Oh, you can't shove the goalie, 'cause he's a holy goalie. Can't shove the goalie.